I think a lot of us have a misconception about lard, and I do want to talk a bit about it for you guys today. So it's a fat that is generally, it can be made from beef or pork, but generally from pork, and it's basically the fat that's left over after cooking. So if you've ever cooked bacon, the fat, the white fat that accumulates at the end of the cooking that we usually throw into the garbage or down the drain is lard, right? Now, there are shelf-stable products that would be labeled as lard, but those are more like shortening, and that would be like your traditional Crisco products, things like that. That is not the product I am speaking about today. I'm specifically speaking about the real organic, just lard that you get as a byproduct of cooking a meat that's fatty, right? The Criscos and the other shortenings in grocery stores and stuff like that are basically going to be hydrogenated, so they're going to have tons and tons of crappy preservatives, and then they're going to have hydrogenated fats in there, and then those fats are going to make those oils very bad for you, and are going to be huge contributors to trans fats in your diet. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, real lard is super helpful for cooking. It's really good for baking. It's good for lots of ethnic recipes. A lot of Hispanic recipes will use it. And you know, there's a place, in my opinion, for every type of oil, and you want to actually have your oils be, you know, very diversified, right? So sometimes we're going to use olives, sometimes we're going to use avocado, sometimes we use lard, sometimes we use ghee or butter, right? So lard does have a place, and just from like the breakdown standpoint, it is kind of the middle. If you have olive oil over here with your, you know, low saturated fat, very high poly and monounsaturated fats, right? And that's that's a great profile for olive oil. And then you have your butter over here that's got a higher amount of saturated fat, and you have lower amounts of the mono and polyunsaturated fats, right? Lard just falls right in the middle of those two. So it's actually got a higher amount of the poly and monounsaturated fats than butter does, and those are the fats we want to see in our diet. Those are the anti-inflammatory fats that really help. So it's got slightly higher on the saturated fat than olive oil, but it's lower than butter. And you know, saturated fat is okay to eat in smaller amounts. We don't want to eat tons of it all day long, but the fact that the profile of it just falls in between your olive oil and butter kind of gives you a nice middle row for using lard for different, you know, reasons, for different cooking. And there are, like I said, specific ones. What you want to look for if you're at Whole Foods and you're in the oil aisle, what you want to really look for is it just to say organic pork fat or organic beef fat. Okay, lard, tallow, those are both kind of interchangeable words that you might see. So you shouldn't have anything else in there other than that on the ingredient list. Second thing is you can obviously save your fats at home when you're doing your own cooking. And third thing, what people don't realize, is lard is actually an amazing source of vitamin D, which, as we know, vitamin D is pretty hard to get from food, but lard has a very high percentage of vitamin D. So that's my little tutorial on lard today, but I hope you guys learned something, and if you have any questions, as always, put them in the comments, or you can reach out to me. Okay, thanks. Happy Lard Day.